All right, the big day is here. GPT 5.6. Let's go. We've got it inside Codex. You can see inside the models here, we've got Sol, Terra, Luna. We're going to be testing out, putting it through Goldie Bench, seeing how it performs as well, comparing it against Fable 5, creating some awesome stuff inside the Agent operating system as well, the Agent OS using this. So let's get straight into it. If you have any questions as we go along, feel free to ask. Let's get the party started. Can you add GPT 5.6 to Codex inside the Agent OS? Make sure goal mode works and can run in the background autonomously. I'm already logged in on Codex, and make sure you use OAuth. Can you start running the tests on Goldie Bench using GPT 5.6? Sol, add it as a new model, deploy the builds as they're built out. Make sure you test the actual gameplay or the working demo to make sure it works. Focus on these 6 builds first, and then once they're working and ready, then do the rest. Can you make sure on Goldie Bench be interested to know if anyone watching this has tested out GPT 5.6 and what you think as well. From what I've heard so far, it's really good, but it's not on the same level as something like Fable 5, which is quite interesting. I also saw some people running it autonomously for like 7 days, which looked absolutely wild. Create a guide comparing them to. Create a guide on GPT 5.6, breaking down the models and everything else. Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of people doing that inside the AI profitable ordering. So there's a lot of members like asking about that and building and sharing what they're building with it as well. So we'll definitely check that out for a starting point. But yeah, can be done. Hey, welcome. Just testing out GPT 5.6 today to see how it performs, testing out Soul especially, but we'll compare them side by side as well. It'll be interesting to see, okay, how does each one perform? Key creator guide on GPT 5.6 versus Soul versus Terra versus Luna. Show the difference between each one, show the benchmarks for each one, show the actual graphs and everything else, and then also make sure that you build a few things and compare them side by side in terms of how they perform, and talk about the use cases for each one as well. Loving it so far. All right, exciting times. I'm excited to see it as well, actually. Does anyone know if GPT 5.6 is available on OAuth? I assume it is. Just made some changes to it as well. Don't overwrite those. Eamon says, I've got an Agentic IDE and an app I built out. 5.6 found 4 items between the 2 apps that were really meaningful. One of them found a bug that it's been fighting with. Nice, man. Yeah, it sounds like you're making good progress there. That's awesome. I'm excited to try it now. It's going to be fun. We're going to build it out in a few different ways. So I think we'll put it inside Codex. We'll have a section for goal mode as well. Maybe an image generator too. I think that'll be fun. Thank you. Yeah, that was based on your feedback. I know you asked to add that feature in, so we're like, okay, anything that's useful, just let me know. One thing I'm actually thinking about removing is the scores on there, because I'm like, well, you kind of have to recalculate it every time a new model comes out, and a new model literally comes out like at least twice per week. So I'm thinking about the best way to handle that, and also just trying to make the UI on Goldie Bench much nicer as well. If you have any ideas on improving the UI, let me know. But yeah, great ideas. Thank you. Don't worry about bugging me. Stop. Hello. Thank you very much for joining. Appreciate you joining. If anyone's got questions whilst we're going along, feel free to ask. Happy to help. You can see we're improving the UI on it now, so it looks a lot nicer. Gradually getting there. I don't know. I'm testing it out now. I'm interested to see does Soul beat Fable or not. It's going to be very interesting. Yeah. But from what I've seen, it creates amazing stuff. The other interesting thing I saw some people doing was running the... One sec. Yeah, the other thing that's interesting is running the goal mode autonomously for days. I saw some people doing that. It looked pretty wild. I've not tested that out. I think it's going to use a lot of tokens. But some of the stuff you can build with it when it's running for days is just unbelievable. Oh, this is looking nicer now, isn't it? Much nicer. If I were you to make a suggestion, it would be to move the best AI to its own column and then change your table so you can sort and filter by the columns. Interesting question. Move the best AI to its own column. Ah, I see what you mean. So the best AI at, right? Let's do that. and allow people to filter and sort the leaderboard too, right? Is your agent running your computer? It looks like it because I don't see you typing. Well, we have loops running in the background. So like, I'll just say, okay, test this, try this, etc. And then it will go from there. What we tested today. So we're going to run the Goldie benchmarks. And we're testing out Sol, Terra, and Luna. Going to compare them side by side. We're also going to test Fable 5 versus GPT 5.6 as well, and just see how they all do. If you have any tests you want me to run as well, just let me know. I'll take a look for you. Volt, hope you're well. Hope you're well too. Thanks for joining. I'm doing very good. I'm excited today. I mean, it's been a great week, isn't it? Fable 5 back. Grok 4.5 out yesterday. That was pretty good. And then today, of course, we got 5.6 out. So it's been a great week. I'm excited. See what we got here. I really like the idea of a Jarvis type interaction, but I'm concerned about confidential files. So the way that I have that set up is we will have a system where basically our agents are siloed away. So we do have like a Jarvis style app here, which is Apollo, and I can tell it stuff and it will speak to me in real time and it works really well. So this is pretty powerful. But when you're using it as well, so you can see it's like literally looking at what I'm saying right here and understanding it. Now, when I'm using it, it's siloed away from everything else, which means it only activates when I'm on it. And we can switch it off anytime. So we can click it off or on. So the cool thing about that is when you're using the system, you don't have to worry about giving it access to stuff you shouldn't give it access to, because it's all controlled inside this system. It's all inside one place. So that's the way I really like to use it. It's much easier, much more simple. And that way you can still make the most of a voice activated AI agent, but you don't need to worry about like, okay, you don't need to worry about like it having access to stuff, and it just switches off. So as soon as I switch back to here, it stops listening and it will switch back on if I switch back on that tab. So that's the way that I recommend it. Way more chill, way easier to use, etc. Is it weird that my Agentic OS is similar to yours, but the difference is the moat? What do you mean by the moat? Or what do you mean by the difference? How do the loops work that allow it to do all the things I'm seeing? What is the main harness you're using? Is the agent accessing both Codex and Claude at the same time? Yeah, so basically we give skills to our AI agents. So to show you a really simple skill, we have the SEO skill over here, okay? And so this 13-step process just continues in the background when I ask it to create AI content. And the great thing about that is that it's just running in the background. The same with, for example, Goldie bench tests. So it will just continue looping round until the Goldie bench tests are done. So, for example, we've actually got that running in the background here. So when you're building out loops and that sort of thing, you just want to, I think the easiest way is to give it a skill, and then it completes the skill, and that's how it gets everything done. And then it's using Claude, but it's accessing Codex because we give Claude access to Codex via the Agent OS. So Claude can operate Codex for us if we plug it into our Agent OS. So for example, if we go to Codex over here, we are using GPT 5.6 inside the system. And then Codex can operate it for us. It can build stuff for us in the background. It's got everything inside this workflow here, and it's all running in the background. Thank you. Are you silo away in VM or Docker? I don't really use Docker, but you can. Yeah, I'm not that technical, so I don't really like to use it. And also, like, I find with Docker, as soon as I stop using something, I switch it off, and then I just don't use it again. So a great example of that is OpenSEO. Like, OpenSEO is plugged into our Agent OS, but because it's inside Docker, it's so siloed away that I don't have it running in the background all the time. As you can see right here, I can switch it on at any time, but it means like I have to open up Docker, and then I have to click play, and then wait for it to load, and then make sure it works. So I don't really like using stuff inside Docker. I find it's like quite time consuming. Julian, what plan do you need to be on to get access to GPT 5.6? Oh, maybe you just don't have access in your area. Let me have a look at, I think when I'm inside ChatGPT, let's have a look here. One sec. I've got 2 accounts, so I just need to check here. Let's have a look over here. So if we go to settings, yeah, so we're on Pro here. And we have Soul down there. So it seems to be, I've got access on Pro. But you can get access on OpenRouter, it's just you'd have to pay for the API. So the loops are just skills, but yeah, they're kind of like cron jobs. You know, cron job is just a skill on a schedule. So yeah, it works in a similar way. I mean, there's many different loops. Like, for example, if you have a look, we've got this system for loops as well, where we can define a goal, and it will just loop around and get that done until it's completed. So that's an option as well. Okay, I got it now. Yep. How do you give Claude access to Codex? Is that in the school? You literally just say to Claude, like, listen, plug in Codex into the system, and then it will do it for you. And you just say do it via OAuth. And that's how we can put, for example, Codex into the Agent OS alongside Claude CLI. Nice, you got it. How do you have it siloed? No, so I have it like, so it only switches on when I go to this tab. But as soon as I switch away from that tab, that's how it silos away. So it's siloed away inside a tab in the Agent OS where we have the Jarvis style app, and then we can switch between them anytime. It's a slow rollout. Ah, interesting. Also in Texas. Oh, we've got a whole bunch of people in Texas today. So just waiting for this to build out. Let's see how we're getting on. Just going to check. Something here. Well, it's siloed in a way where it's only activated. The agent is only activated when we click on that tab. So if we don't click on that tab, the agent is not activated. So that's what I mean by siloed away. Well, also what you could do is when you're setting up Apollo with the Agent OS, you could actually tell the agent, like, listen, limit your permissions so you don't have local access, for example. And that way as well, you could reduce the amount of access it has. So when you're setting up this, when you're using the installation file from the AI Profit Boardroom, you could say, okay, set up Hermes Apollo, but limit the access in terms of the files so that you only have access inside one folder, or you don't have access to local files at all. And that way you could silo it away as well, Donjay. Not the Jarvis agent I'm asking about. The agents. Oh, yeah. No, those are not siloed away. Those are not siloed away. Like, they have access to everything. But again, like, you can limit the permissions. You can limit access to local files. So if you want to silo away certain parts of it, you can. Also, another option that a lot of people do inside the AI Profit Boardroom is they will run the agent OS on a VPS. And that way it's siloed away on a separate device. That's another way around it. Thank you. Welcome, Edward. Thank you very much for joining, sir. Wow, it's early. Early for you, but I appreciate you joining at this time. Good on you for waking up early. All right, we should have a better version of Goldie Bench now. Let's take a look. Yeah, it looks nicer. Looks a lot nicer. Whoa, awake for 19 hours. You got to get some sleep, man. Take care of yourself. Usually I sleep about 9 hours a day. Sleep about 8:30, 9. Wake up about 5 or 6 a.m. All right, back in a sec. Sorry about that, guys and girls. Let's see who we got here. Well, it's 8:29 p.m. in Louisiana. Sitting in bed working on a laptop. Awesome. Edward, I know, but I'm that guy that doesn't like to sleep. Fair enough. So much energy. Impressive. Been watching more and more. I will be a member of the community soon. It feels right. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. How old are you? I am 37 this month. 36 right now. Hello, Julian from Austria. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Crazy Design. Thanks everyone for joining. All right, let's see where we're getting on. So improving the UI on this. It looks 10 times nicer. That is looking way nice. I mean, it's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. It's definitely not perfect, but it looks a lot nicer. Let's see what else we've got here. So you can sort by what it's best at, the model, the rank. This is looking better. Thanks everyone for the ideas on improving this. "3:35 a.m. in Zurich." Hello, Henrik. All right, we're building this out. That's done, I think. Let's see how we're getting on. Where are you established, Julian? What hour is it to you? So I'm based in Asia. It's 8:30 a.m. here. Hi, thank you very much. You're impressive in your... I would have guessed you're 25. That's being too nice, but I appreciate that. You're impressive in your discipline in life, man. It's inspiring. Saw once how you showed how to track all your time, and I just respect it. Thank you very much. Yeah, that is something really powerful. If you're watching this and you don't track your time, or you haven't even done that for a couple of weeks, it's well worth it. Well worth it. And we got Geraldo here from Brazil. Welcome here. How's it going in the World Cup? If you're into, I don't know if you're into football, but you might be. Not so good. Not so good. I hope it gets better. England playing on Saturday. Which I'll probably watch a replay of and try and avoid the news in between. See how we're getting on with these tests. Oh, so we've got GPT 5.6, I think nearly ready. Let's see what we've built with it. Whoa. All right. So looking good already. So we've got 6 builds with... Wow. Nice. Ooh, this is some of the best I've seen. This is Fable 5 level. Very good. Very good, my friends. This is looking really good. Boom shakalaka is what I say to this. Controls are backwards on this game, which is a bit confusing. But it looks great. Looks absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? Try it with Grok 4.5. Yeah, I've done quite a few tutorials on Grok yesterday. It looks awesome. Benix says, that's good. That is, I would agree with you, mate. I'm with you there. It's looking very good. You should try the new plugin sites. What's the plugin? Is it designed for building websites or something? This is, I've got to say, this is looking outstanding. There's a couple of things I would tweak on that, which I'm going to tell Claude to fix now. Codex desktop, it's on ChatGPT as well. Nice. That is looking very impressive. Absolutely loving it. Can you add this to the Agent OS as well? Can you make sure that you add the builds inside a GPT 5.6 stall folder in the workspace of the Agent OS as well? And make sure it actually works. Looking fantastic. That has been the easiest test I've done so far, honestly. Really, really good. Inside the Agent OS goal section, can you make it so that when I double click it, I can also rename it? Can you also make sure the full URL shows? Okay, nice. Let's have a look. So codex, sites, before you use sites, let's continue. Create a new site, create a website that advertises the AI profit boarding. Don't use the skill boss. skill. In fact, delete that. You know, the key difference as well with all of this is that you can use OAuth with ChatGPT, whereas you just can't do that with Claude, right? You're not going to be able to use, for example, Fable 5 inside Hermes. But you can use GPT 5.6 inside Hermes. Let's see how Codex Sites is getting on. It's working right now. This is looking good. We're going to have to create a guide on GPT 5.6 versus Fable 5 as well. Perfect. Can you also make sure that I can like bold and format the text as well when I edit it? So for example, if I press Command and B, I can bold it. Let's see how Sites is doing. Still working in the background there. Why is Open Rooster so slow? Is everyone using GPT 5.6? Oh, you missed some good stuff. Well, we'll show you in a second, but we built some awesome stuff with GPT 5.6. It's looking really good. You see it's coming through nicely here as well. Can you create a guide on this? Talk about all the ways you can use GPT 5.6 for AI SEO inside the Agent OS. Add some screenshots and data based on our top performing websites that you've already got access to. Let's check out the SEO projects as well. See how we're doing there. Whoa, that's crazy. It's gone right on. That's doing good. We like that. Some of these sites beginning to take off now. That is good news. There we go. It's good to know a bit of Romanian. You never know when you need it. I was in, where was it? Bucharest a couple of years ago. I did a speech there at one of the events for SEO. Used to have a Romanian singing teacher. Nice. Polish piano teacher. There we go. We should start a band. We're going international. All of these builds are looking really good, actually, from what I can see. Let's take a look at Goldie Bench. See what's going on over here. Controls are a little bit weird. I'll tell you that for free. Overall looking good. The wife won't be happy about that. How about starting a band? Great. And have you deployed it to the workspace folder inside Codex? It's right up there with Fusion. Right up there. Wow. No more bands allowed, mate. Ah, sad times. Yeah, I would agree. Do you know what? This is why I tend to put everything inside the Agent OS, because like, I wouldn't like to give Codex access to all the websites we have directly inside Claude. Otherwise, what could happen is like they get confused and then they overwrite each other and it gets super messy. It's like, no. Let's just make sure we have all my main projects inside Claude, and then if I want to use Codex, I prefer to use it inside the Agent OS. That way it's kind of siloed away. You don't like overwrite your projects, or for example, deploy a website. Exactly. Because what's happened before is like, I've had two different coding agents, and then you deploy a website, but let's say, for example, Codex edits it as well as Claude, and then Claude deletes the improvements made by Codex and overwrites it. So you kind of go like one step forward, two steps backwards, which we don't want, obviously. Thank you. Yeah, definitely check it out. Exactly. Yeah, you don't want too many. I think the more you can simplify, the less room for error, which is what we want. Awesome. Have you deployed the latest tests? How much better is GPT 5.6 than GPT 5.5? I would say minimum, absolute minimum, I would say 50% better. But from what I'm testing, it's way, way, way better in so many different ways. You'll see on the test in a second. I don't actually have like 5.5 comparisons because we created it after that release, but yeah, pretty good. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Super kind. Yeah. All right, let's get into this. Today we have 3 new models from GPT 5.6, massive step up. I can tell you now. I'll show you some of the tests that we've gone into, but we have a full solar system of new models directly with GPT 5.6. If you don't have access to it right now, by the way, it is rolling out slowly, so some people around the world are getting it sort of step by step, if that makes sense. Now, OpenAI's new GPT 5.6 has 3 new layers: of Sol, Terra, and Luna. Luna is the fast, cheap one. Terra is the everyday model. Sol is the beast. If you want to see what Sol can achieve, let me show you some of the latest creations from GPT 5.6 that we've tested on Goldie Bench, and you can see it's actually coming in at number 2 on the leaderboard when we've tested out. It's unbelievable. So let me show you some of the stuff it's created. It looks really, really cool. We've tested out relentlessly, already built out 33 different projects with it, and you can see these on Goldie Bench. So let's check them out. For example, we have this game, and it's looking really, really good. You might say, is it Fable 5 level? I would say at this point, it's on par. Like, it's really, really good. It can create some amazing stuff. I have a little feeling that if I was to choose one model and only one model that I could use forever, it would definitely be Fable 5 over GPT 5.6. But Sol is awesome, as you can see, and creates some amazing stuff. Let's have a look at another one. So this is like an open world game, as you can see right here. It feels really nice to use. I was testing out Grok 4.5 and that impressed me yesterday, but this is way, way better. It's just more fun. The gameplay is sharper. It feels just a lot nicer visually. And it's a lot smoother and a lot more interesting in these open worlds as well. So it looks fantastic, as you can see. Let's have a look at another one. It's like a Doom style game, as you can see. And one of the things that I'll say here is, like, quite often models struggle to really build out like a smooth game like this. And this has worked perfectly, and it just feels really nice to play. It feels smooth when I'm looking at the creations it's made. It's like a racer game as well. So Sol is the absolute beast. In fact, I probably wouldn't use any other model apart from Sol if I had the choice. I think that's what I'll try and stick to for now. But if you're wondering about the other 2 models, I'll come on to those in a second. But just to show you, like, the creations here are absolutely unbelievable. Here's a full video that it created. So it created a full video animation here. It looks super nice. This is, you can see here, for example, as a progress bar at the bottom, it's created all of this. Like, I haven't touched it. I didn't create any of this. It just, from one single prompt, does a test, and it looks fantastic, as you can see right here. So this is fully, like a video fully created with GPT 5.6 Sol. So it can create videos, it can create games, it can create landing pages, it can create awesome stuff, as you can see right here. And yeah, unbelievable. All of it was really, really good. There was nothing I looked at where I was like, not sure about that. Like, all of it that I checked out was just fantastic, and it's a really, really good model, which is the first time that I've said that about GPT this year, apart from the image model. The image model was goated as well, to be fair. So let's run through it. What is GPT 5.6? How does it work, etc.? So this just dropped today. OpenAI made GPT 5.6 generally available, not as one model, but as 3. So same architecture, 3 sizes. All 3 share 1 million context window, 128K max output, and February 2026 knowledge cutoff. You can see the prices here. So, for example, of course, like Sol is a lot more expensive to use than Luna, which is a lot cheaper. One thing to bear in mind here is when you're using it, like, you can just use it with OAuth. So that means you don't have to use it with an API. So, for example, if I was using my Agent OS and I'm using Codex inside here with GPT 5.6, so we can switch between the models. I can use a free model as well, like OmniRoot inside Codex if I want to. But if we went to the workspace here, what you can see is that we can flick through between everything that we've built. It's inside one place. And this was all created with OAuth. Like, I didn't pay for the API to build this stuff, which is absolutely awesome. And it's the same, for example, inside Hermes. We can use GPT 5.6 as a separate profile. And the great thing about that is it doesn't cost us any extra. Whereas, for example, if you're using Fable 5 or any form of Claude inside Hermes agent or any sort of agent like OpenClaw, you'd have to pay. So there's a big difference between these. So how would you use these? Well, if you look at the position here, Sol is more for like flagship, hard multi-step agentic work. Terra is the everyday production model, and then Luna is like high volume, latency sensitive work. So Sun, Earth, and Moon, biggest to smallest. And this was actually delayed. So there was a government review first. It dropped in preview about a week or 2 ago. And then from there, they've finally released it to the public, which is fantastic. So you can see here, if we look at the benchmarks on Intelligence Index, Fable 5 is still outperforming Sol by 1 point. So it's 60 versus 59 versus 55 versus 51. This is from the Artificial Analysis Index. So Sol is literally right up there with Fable 5. Cost per tasks. So you can see here, Sol is a lot more expensive, like almost twice the price of Terra. Luna is 80% less than Sol. And then we've got Terminal Bench as well. So Sol Ultra is right at the top there. I don't think I've even tested Sol Ultra. That could be fun as well. So Sol itself is really, really good. And then if we have a look here as well on Terminal Bench 2.1, Fable 5 is 83.4. Sol Ultra is 91.9. Sol is 88.8. Now, from what I've tested so far, it does look really good. And the thing I would say here is, like, don't believe all the benchmarks. Don't listen to all the benchmarks. Just test it yourself. That's why we created Goldie Bench, so that you can have a look at what I've built with it and then test it out. So, you know, on our actual creations, it's right up there. Like, it's one of the best models you can use, undeniably, with GPT 5.6 Sol. So, if you're wondering, like, how long does each one, so we actually gave each model the same task with one shot. This was for a 3D space game. And from what we saw, Sol takes a lot longer to build. So 6 minutes versus 1 minute 37 for Luna. The total cost was $1.18 versus 0.12 from Luna and 0.43 for Terra. Code written was much bigger from Sol. Measured throughput was a lot slower with Sol as well. So you can see 198 tokens per second versus Sol's at 109 tokens per second. And builds that ran error-free, they all ran error-free, which was fantastic as well. If you want to see like what the actual creations look like, so this is Sol versus Terra versus Luna. So Sol's version here, as you can see, like 3D game, pretty fun to play, etc. Let's have a look at, I mean, there's a huge difference between, it's not even comparable at that point. Look at Terra's version versus Sol. Like, Sol is just a much better model. And then you got Luna, which is kind of the same level of bad as Terra, and at the same time has less going on, less interesting, right? So Sol is literally like the best model by a long, long way. We also built out some landing pages, so if we test these live, and by the way, if you want to see this full guide, it's available at agentic.guide. So this is the page that we built with Sol. Looks super nice. Like, look at the colors. It doesn't feel like, you know, AI slop to me. Like, it looks super nice. So we built out a full landing page for the AI Profit Boardroom. Looks beautiful, super interesting, looks fantastic. If we have a look at the version from Terra, the medium model, this is not bad still. Like, it kind of feels like Opus 4.8 honestly when I have a look at this, when I'm testing out. It still looks good, but it doesn't have that nice UI that Sol does. Sol's output is way nicer. And then if we have a look at Terra, actually it did a very good job. For such a cheap model, that did a great job at building a landing page. So fair play to Luna on that job. And then we built out an analytics dashboard as well. Let's test these out. So this is the one from Sol. Looks great. The buttons on the left hand side don't actually work. Just to be 100% honest with you. This looks very similar, to be fair. I mean, they all look very similar at that point. Like, I can't really see a big difference between them. Now, you might also say, well, you know, Sol, most expensive model, like, isn't that a waste? But actually, if the outputs are like 10 times better, especially for the first test, then it's 100% worth it, right? That's the way that I look at it. It's kind of like, would you use Haiku or Sonnet or Opus or Fable 5 if you had a choice? Of course, you're going to go with Fable 5. So here's the way that I would recommend using it to get the most out of this stuff. You know, the old way would be like one model for everything, like just a flagship model for every request, big or small, summaries and drafts at frontier level, slow responses and tasks that need no depth, and a bill that gets more expensive with usage, not with difficulty, right? And then with this method, I would recommend that actually you switch. So you change the model depending on what tier you needed. As you saw, for example, like Terra and Luna did a pretty good job on the website. So if it's like high volume work, well, you can use Luna. If it's just day-to-day work, you might use something like Terra. But on the hard agentic stuff, like building out big projects, coding something really interesting, then you can use Sol. And that way, like, you keep the cost down or you keep the token usage down without things getting expensive. Now, you also might say, okay, the cheap tier, for example, Terra or Luna, is not going to create something nice, but I've shown you 3 different tests, and on 2 of them, the outputs were very similar. You might also say, I should just wait and use whatever's in ChatGPT. I would switch the models depending on what you want. And I also don't think the best way to get the most out of AI is using ChatGPT. So if you just go back and forth inside the chat of ChatGPT here, you're not going to get anywhere near the level of output that you would get from something like this, right? So we've got the Agent OS here, and if you want to use GPT 5.6, I wouldn't use ChatGPT, right? I'd go straight into Codex. I would create some amazing stuff like this. Everything saves inside my workspace. We can check it out anytime. Easy to use, easy to navigate between everything, and it's all there ready to go inside one place. And then if we want to switch, we can go to Hermes. We can set up a profile with GPT 5.6. It's ready over there, and everything's linked inside my memory system, my memory galaxy. That is a way to get maybe 10 times more out of your AI, whatever AI you use. Whereas, for example, you just going back and forth inside the chat or using Codex, I don't think you're going to get that much out of this. So Luna for volume, Terra as a default, Sol for the hard 20%, long agentic sessions. You can actually run Sol for hours or days, and especially with the /goal feature, you can get a lot out of it. So if you go over to Codex over here, and then you go to the goal mode, you can run the goal mode for like literally days. You can say don't stop until you get the job done. And that's a really powerful way of just using autonomous agents. So yeah, really, really good stuff. All of them very impressive. Definitely the best release that I've seen from ChatGPT this year, apart from the image update. You might also think, okay, when would you not use this stuff? I mean, if you have a choice between Fable 5 and Sol, I would still go with Fable 5, personally. But I think you can get a lot out of them by just having them inside an agent operating system as well. So what have you learned today? You've learned about the 3 sizes of ChatGPT: Sol, Terra, Luna. You've learned how to get the most out of each one and when to use each one, which one is the agentic leader, and also you've seen how Sol performs in terms of creations and everything else. You might also be wondering, okay, how does it perform versus something like Fable 5? So we can actually have a look here and compare Fable 5 versus GPT 5.6 Sol side by side. So if we have a look, let's just check the arcade game, for example. So this is the output from GPT 5.6 Sol. Looks pretty nice. This is the output from Fable 5. It's actually very similar. I would say this just feels slightly smoother from Fable 5, but not a big difference. If we have a look at this game here, so this is the Crypt game. I like the way the enemies and the characters appear. The controls are a little bit weird on this game, but apart from that, pretty nice. And lots of characters, lots of interesting stuff going around there. If we have a look at Fable 5, feels a little bit more linear, but again, like I would say the graphics are nice. It looks cool. It's easy to use. One thing I will say is, like, you see how the staff doesn't move when we use it? That seems a bit weird, but apart from that, it's pretty good. It's a little bit buggy there as well. So, I mean, very, very similar outputs. Like, I can't see a big difference. This is the only one where I see a huge difference between them. Like, I would say that Sol absolutely crushed it on this example. Like, it looks really good, super smooth. If we have a look at the version from Fable 5, we can't really turn around. So it's kind of strange. It's like you can only really move backwards, forwards and sideways, but you can't change like the camera angle, which is kind of weird. Pretty hard to use. Yeah, but yeah, very, very compatible. So if you want to get our systems for using all of this, you can get that inside the AI Profit Boardroom. We've got the complete agent operating system with the model routing playbooks. We have the Agent OS. You get 4 coaching calls a week. There's 1,000 pre-built agents inside there. You get new model briefings all the time, 4,000 members across many different countries. And all of the systems that I've shown you right here are inside the AI Profit Boardroom. So we have a codex section here. And if you want to use free models with codex as well, you can choose that inside the drop down. You can also switch to goal mode. You can see all of your sessions. You can check out your workspace here. You can see everything you've created. You've also got, for example, the orchestration system here so that you can have paperclip orchestrating a team of agents that could be working with Claude and GPT 5.6 and everything else. And then you can also plug in Hermes with Sol over here too. And then we additionally have an image generator, which is powered by GPT 5.6. So if you want to get all of this, it's inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description, or just go to the AIProfitBoardroom.com. This is my community for helping you save time, grow, and scale with AI automation. Inside the classroom, you can get access to all of my best trainings. If you want the Agent OS system that we talked about today, you can get that over here. If you want to get our token minimization playbook so you can use GPT 5.6 for more without paying more, you can check out the token minimization section here. And we have loads of great guides and new tutorials all the time. Inside the community, you can ask questions, get help and support. I personally answer all the questions inside here daily. And then inside the calendar, you can jump on weekly coaching calls, get help and support in real time, ask questions, etc. And inside the map, you can meet people in your local area. So feel free to get all of this inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description, or just go to the AIProfitBoardroom.com. Thanks for watching. Trey says 5.6 is doing things to my website that are 100% logical, but I didn't specifically ask GPT to do. I had a problem with some code, and GPT went and fixed it. Nice. Does that mean, is that good or bad? It sounds good, but also like it might be bad. Josiah says, great to see you here. Great to see you here too. Josiah, thanks for joining, sir. Appreciate that. Thanks so much for joining in, by the way. Just asking ChatGPT how to get the best out of your workflows. Awesome. Well, I mean, feel free to DM me inside the Profit Boardroom if you have any questions or anything like that. Always happy to help. So I really appreciate you joining in, and thank you. Going to move on to the next tutorial in a second. Hey, Don says, hey, quick question. Feel free to ask anything you want. Red says, evening, Julian, enjoying Sol. Yeah, it is really, really good. Very impressive from what I've seen. Already posted the benchmarks, by the way, for everyone on Goldie Bench, but it's looking fantastic. Not gonna lie. Not been a big fan of ChatGPT or OpenAI this year, to be honest with you, but I would say this release is special for sure. So are you using GPT 5.6 basically for free in your OS? How are you doing that? Yeah, it's through OAuth. So you can, so for example, with GPT 5.6, in the same way that you get access to Codex, you can plug it into your OS, and that way you can use it for free. So it's pretty cool like that. Do you know what? I did a SEO podcast on my other channel the other day, and they were saying how like a lot of people don't go outside that much nowadays because of AI, and people are talking to AI so much all day. It's kind of like the internet. The internet kind of made people go out less and made people a bit more introverted. It's like that, but even more so because you're always like interacting with it, right? It's pretty interesting to see that. Today, I'm going to run through GPT 5.6 and an agent operating system that doesn't even require an API key. You can basically use OAuth with your existing subscription, plug that inside one dashboard, and it's absolutely wild for pretty much automating anything. Now, GPT 5.6 just dropped. We've already plugged it into our agent operating system, as you can see right here. We can actually switch between APIs. So for example, if we run out of tokens on our existing plan, we can switch over to OmniRoute, and that is a free way to use Codex inside here. And then we can also switch over to GPT 5.6 like so. Then we can speak to it inside here. So let's just test it out. We can add a message, and this is pretty powerful stuff because, for example, we have a system now where essentially, and you can see it responds here, we have a system now where essentially we can save everything that we create with this agent OS inside one place. So for example, we created this analysis, as you can see, everything that we've created and built with GPT 5.6 inside one place, and also that connects with a memory. So it's a super powerful system to just get more out of your agents. And also the great thing about this is that you can now plug GPT 5.6 into agents using OAuth as well. So for example, Hermes agent can run directly with GPT 5.6. So this is what I call the GPT 5.6 command engine. And the thing I would say here is, like, if you're using GPT 5.6, like if you're just going back and forth inside ChatGPT like so, you're just not going to get the most out of it, right? Like you can't see anything you've created. All your conversation history is quite messy. It doesn't plug into a memory system. Also, if you're using other tools, like for example, we use Claude, we use Anti-Gravity, we use Codex, whatever we're using, we can have inside one system. We can quickly navigate between them all in one place, one click away. Whereas, for example, if you want to get more out of Codex, then you have to go to Codex over here. And then you have to, for example, navigate to Claude. And it's all quite messy. So this is a much more powerful stack. And so if you're watching this, just promise yourself one thing, which is you'll finish this guide and set up one piece of it today, because even if you just set up one piece of this, the moment you make that transition, everything about how you work with AI changes. And this is just going to make your whole AI engine way more powerful. So let's talk about the GPT command engine and 5 things it gives you. So first of all, you got one login. So this is all running on my ChatGPT subscription, so I can just log in, I can use all these tools, and it doesn't cost me anything extra. I don't need to use the API or anything like that. It's all plugged into one system. Also, we can switch between the different tiers. So we have Sol, we have Luna, we have Terra, and these are all different parts of the solar system that we can use to get the most out of this stuff. We have goal mode, so we can go inside goal mode here, and this is a loop where we can basically hand it a goal and walk away. We have the workspace where every build it makes is saved and previewable in one click, and we have one command center. So GPT 5.6 sits next to Claude, Hermes, and Grok on the same screen. One dashboard runs your whole model lineup, which is really, really powerful. So let's talk about this. You basically ask, it's going to use your ChatGPT login, GPT 5.6 builds with whichever model you prefer, and then everything is saved inside one workspace. And the difference here is, like the old way, is you would used to live in like ChatGPT tabs, you copying and pasting between them, or you're paying per API token, which gets expensive. You close the session, all the context is gone, and it's not plugged into one memory system. And then it's not running in the background. You got one model, and if all your builds are just scattered across your downloads folder and your tabs, right? So for example, if I go into Codex here, it's super messy. I can't organize everything. I can't visually preview anything that we've built, and it's just nowhere near as good. Whereas with this system, with the Agent OS, we've got everything inside one workspace, right? We can preview everything that we've built. We don't lose track of anything. Everything is saved in one place. It's much easier to navigate. So with this, we have one dashboard, GPT 5.6 in one tab. On the ChatGPT login you already have, Sol, Terra, or Luna ready to go. We've got goal mode ready to go. Every build is saved and previewable. Everything sits next to all of our agents, and nothing is lost as well, because everything goes inside our memory system. So whenever we use any of these agents, it's all saved inside our memory, and then we can navigate across that inside our memory galaxy, which is super powerful. So a lot of people ask me, like, how are you using GPT 5.6 inside your systems here? So we actually give the Agent OS to our members, but basically when you install this, you can just ask your agent that sets it up to plug in your OAuth into this system. And that means you don't need to use an API key. And then you can basically, with one drop down, automatically switch to the best model depending on what you want. So Sol is the flagship one, really powerful. Terra is the everyday driver. Luna is super fast and cheap for high volume work. And inside the Agent OS, you'll just live inside one section. Okay. The other cool thing as well, like if you're running out of tokens, you can just switch to OmniRoot or HY3. Both of them are free models that you can use with Codex. So if you're like, you know what, this is a high volume task, I don't need a frontier model, you can switch between them as well. Also, you may say like the cheap tier doesn't create good stuff, but actually when we've tested it out, if you're just building out a basic website, there's not a huge difference between each of these. So it really depends on what you're doing. Like if you're creating a massive project, super complex, big SaaS tool, of course you're going to use Sol. But it depends. Most workflows don't require a frontier model. And then also we've got the goal mode. So what we can do with goal is we can go inside here, we can set a title, set a task, and then we can set up auto approve. And basically this will just loop round as a system until it's completed. So you set a goal, you can close the tab, it builds in a sandbox, and then once it's done, it goes into your workspace. So all of our goal tasks here are saved inside one workspace, and we can just come back to that whenever we want, which is fantastic because basically we can run our agents autonomously in the background whenever we want. So if we wanted to do this, for example, we can plug in that task, launch a goal, and now it's going to start running in the background inside a sandbox. Pretty powerful stuff. You also might say, well, an AI running on its own in the background sounds risky. So it's actually sandboxed in, right? Each goal runs auto-approved, but it's sandboxed. So you can also switch off the auto-approve as well. If you want to switch off, you can untick it there, which is great too. Now, also the great thing about this is that every build is saved and previewable. Now, you know how I said, for example, Sol is the best in terms of frontier work? Like it can create the best stuff, right? You can create the nicest stuff. We actually tested out on like 40 different builds so far. Really, really good. Then the other thing I said before was like, you can't see a big difference between the dashboards or the things that you create. So this is Terra and this is Luna. There's not a big difference between the builds, like very similar in terms of the way they're created. And so depending on what you're doing, you don't always need a frontier model. You don't even need to use the model that uses the most tokens, depending on what you're actually doing. Now, you also might say, okay, with an agentic system like this, will it work for your business? And the great thing about this is you can customize it as much as you want. So we have loads of members who are non-technical, building out their own custom workflows, creating amazing stuff. And the way that they're doing this with the Agent OS is building it out and then just saying, okay, well, I need to automate this. Can you build that in? And they just ask their AI agent to add that to the Agent OS, and it does it. So for example, like previously, I'd have to log into Suno, create music. That would take like 5 to 10 minutes of me waiting. Now I can just have this tab here and I can create music in one click. If I want to do SEO, I can go to this section. If I want to use a video agent that can like create a fully edited video that looks beautiful with an AI avatar and everything else inside one system, we can. Really easy to do. And so when you're doing this, it's pretty easy to build out these systems and custom workflows, and that way it works for any business. But if you want to get all my pre-built workflows and the Codex setup, that's inside the Agent OS as well. Also, you might wonder, okay, when you're using the Agent OS, which is the best model? Well, if you need speed, Luna is the fastest. It's actually 4 times faster than Sol when we tested out a build with it. So what's really interesting here is Sol can create the best quality stuff, but it takes a lot longer. So 6 minutes versus 1 minute 37, right? Big difference in the amount of time it takes. You might also say, doesn't running an Agent OS use a lot of tokens? So if you're worried about that sort of stuff, we have token minimization playbooks inside the AI Profit Boardroom, but also you can switch to free models from the drop down here. So it's like, okay, well, if GPT 5.6 runs out of tokens, or you don't want to use it, or you don't want to rinse the tokens on it, no problem. You can switch to free models like OmniRoot. So that way you can switch depending on what you want to do. And it's really easy and simple to just switch between them and make the most out of all the models. So just to recap here, some people think you need to use an API to add GPT 5.6 to your Agent OS. You don't, as I've proven. Some people think the autonomous agents running in the background are like a gimmick or don't actually work. At this point, we're at we're in a world where we can do everything in the background. So for example, that task we were just talking about a minute ago, that's been running for 3 minutes in the background whilst I was talking to you and navigating across the Agent OS. So it's really powerful because You can just give it a task, walk back, we can come back in an hour, that should be done. If it's not done, it'll keep looping around until it is done. And also you might say, well, this is just one more tool to check, but actually it sits all inside one screen. That's the difference here. Like if I was using GPT 5.6 inside Codex, I would probably never use it, even though I'm on the pro tier, simply because I just don't want to navigate to loads of different apps and mess around clicking between tabs. Whereas if I've got everything inside one system and goal mode can just run autonomously without me, well, that's fantastic, right? I just get more done inside one place and I'm way more productive. And then the way that I see this is like, this is the model we already pay for. Why not get the most out of it and plug it into a system that's super useful? So if you want to get our agent operating system set up with GPT 5.6 wired in, ready to go, you can get the GPT 5.6 Codex engine, goal mode, the workspace, one dashboard for every model, including Claude, Hermes, Grok, Codex side by side, the local Hermes engine, the AI mastermind with a group chat with these agents, agent Kanban, the memory system, the token efficiency playbooks, and 4,000 founders that you can network with as well. You can get that all inside the AI Profit Boardroom. This is my AI automation community for helping you save time, learn, and grow with AI automation. We actually at this point have 196 pages of testimonials and wins and awesome reviews from people learning and growing with this stuff. Lots of people sharing their Agent OS setup, how they've customized it, how they've built it exactly how they want. So if you want to get it, it's inside the Profit Boardroom. Inside the community, you can ask questions, get help and support in real time. I personally answer these questions as well. And then also inside the classroom, you can also get access to all of our best tutorials and lessons like you can see right here. Inside the new daily update section, you can get the Agent OS. We update this daily with a video tutorial and a zip file to install. And then also, if you want to learn about token minimization or, for example, OmniRoute or anything else that we mentioned today, you can get all of these tutorials inside here. Inside the calendar, you can jump on weekly coaching calls, get help and support in real time. And inside the map, you can meet people in your local area who are building with AI agents like you. So feel free to get that. Link in the comments description or just go to the AIProfitBoardroom.com. Thanks for watching. I thought Grok 4.5 was only in Cursor, but I did spot it in Hermes. Yeah, we have it inside the Agent OS. Created a ton of tutorials about that yesterday. Do you have this stack laid out in school? Oh, yeah. So you just go to the classroom here. Then you go to new daily updates and you can get the Agent OS right there. So it's all right there for you. The only tiny hiccup is that you're not able to bring your memory from ChatGPT. Well, so the way that you would do this instead is like you have the Agent OS system and everything goes inside the memory. So every time we use all of these agents, they can use a memory from this system. It's all inside one place with a neatly organized context. And then, well, you get a certain amount of tokens. As far as I'm aware, there's no time limit on GPT 5.6 unless I haven't seen the news on it, but yeah, as far as I'm aware, you can use the OAuth. Like we've been using it for a couple of months now inside Codex. I'm not sure about time usage, but token usage, they limit, right? So, but that's why I talked about OmniRoute. So if you run out of tokens with ChatGPT on your subscription, with our Agent OS, you can use OmniRoute or Tencent HY3, as you saw in the dropdown. And so you can switch between free models if you run out of tokens. And also we have token minimization playbooks inside the AI Profit Boardroom as well. Yeah, exactly. So Don says we're kind of saying the same thing, which it basically comes down to how many tokens you have. Yeah, that's it. And if you run out of tokens based on your plan, no problem. You can switch over in the Agent OS to Tencent HY3, which is a free API, or OmniRoute as well. So that way you can still use Codex and you can still use the Agent OS without running out of tokens. Thank you. Yeah, OmniRoute is really good. Super impressive. We got two hot tamales out. GPT 5.6 versus Fable 5. Who wins? Today we're going to be testing them out side by side and showing you exactly who wins. So OpenAI's new flagship model is GPT 5.6 Soul, and we're going to be comparing that against Claude Fable 5 and seeing how it performs side by side. So these are two new frontier models, very different actually. So basically GPT 5.6 Soul is OpenAI's flagship model, top tier. And then you got Claude Fable 5, which is Anthropic's newest model as well. And if you're wondering, okay, how do they perform on benchmarks here? The output price is a lot cheaper on Soul. And if you're wondering how do they perform on benchmarks, let's run through it game by game. So we've tested them out side by side. I'll run through the results in a second. So this is Soul versus Fable 5. Let's open them both up. So Soul's output here looks really good, really smooth game, kind of like an open world dragon game, as you can see here, and actually works. Doesn't feel laggy or buggy at all, really. I mean, the graphics could be better, but overall, pretty nice, considering this is one of the nicest generations I've made for this specific test. Now let's compare that to Claude Fable 5, which is a bit brighter, but not quite as interesting when you're roaming around. So if we have a look, for example, there's less characters, there's less stuff going on, not quite as interesting, not really as entertaining as a game. And so I would actually say that on that particular round, GPT 5.6 Soul has won. Then we have Dragon Realm, and we have the Doom game next, right? So if we compare these side by side, this is Soul. Looks super nice, really smooth to use, easy to control, easy to navigate, quite fun to play as a game. A little bit easy, but you know, you can level up and that sort of thing. But overall, pretty much perfect. Like it doesn't feel buggy in any way. Again, smooth, easy, looks visually nice. Now let's compare that to, for example, Fable 5. So Fable 5's output here, quite nice to use. The graphics don't look quite as good. There's not as much going on again as well, so I can't see any characters. There's a couple here. Here we go. Quite nice to use. I would say they're pretty much on par, but I'd say the graphics are slightly better using Soul. Next one. So this is a racing game, 3D racer game. And so far, I would say that it's very close on the Doom game, but Soul just beats Fable 5. And then for the Dragon Realm game, Soul won by a long way. So far, Soul has won 2 out of 5 tests. Let's have a look at the next one. So this is a 3D racer from Soul. looks super nice, quite fun to play as well. And the graphics on this one don't look quite as good. It is fun to play, moves super fast, but I would say that it's very, very close right there. The graphics are worse on Fable 5. Soul did a better job on that, but at the same time, the gameplay was way more fun with Fable 5. So I would say that's very, very close. Maybe Soul just edges because it has created nicer graphics. Next up, we have the Crypt game. Again, Soul has done a great job on all of these, especially this one. Fun to play, easy to use, nice graphics, nice colors, smooth, everything else. Now, if we have a look at the Fable 5 generation, it's good. Like, I mean, it is pretty good. It's a bit harder to navigate. The staff doesn't move as well when you use it. It's a little bit buggy in places too. It feels very linear as well. That's the other thing that I would say here. Next up, we have a Skyrim style game. So let's have a look at this one. It's called Frostfell. Now, this one is quite hard to control, weirdly enough. So I'm trying to go straight forward, but it's walking sideways, which doesn't make much sense. And then you can see the dog is like kind of moonwalking over there as well, which is weird. So the gameplay looks nice, but when you actually try and play it, it's very hard to navigate. And yet you kind of have to switch the keyboard around, like the keyboard changes. If we have a look at Fable 5, this is smoother, it's nicer. Looks pretty cool. Let's try and go over there. Yeah, it's looking way nicer here. So I'd say the Fable 5 won that one. I mean, all of these are super, super close, like marginally close, honestly. And this is the output from Soul. Doesn't seem to work when we're using... Oh, it's okay, actually. How do we change the camera angle? Oh, we can change it like that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's looking good. Looks nice. And then this is the output from Fable 5, which I would say is a lot smoother. More interesting game. Like, if you look around, it looks visually more appealing, more fun, etc. Yeah, it looks really cool. Super nice. The Fable 5 won that by a long way. I would say, I mean, honestly, that is pretty much a draw. Like, across the board, very similar. If I had to pick one for coding projects, for me, I think my brain is trained to be, like, for example, I think, number one, I wouldn't use both inside Codex and Claude. I think if you were working on one project at the same time across two different apps, you're going to have situations where you overwrite the code or you delete stuff accidentally and that sort of thing. So if I had to pick one, I'm still going to stick to Claude Desktop. I think it's easier for me to get my head around and build multiple things. So, for example, we're building out all these GPT 5.6 features inside the Agent OS using Claude, and I think that's a much smoother way to do it. What I do think is probably the best way to get the most out of all of this is you have an Agent OS system where you can have everything inside one place. So, for example, like you can see right here. And then we can have, for example, goal mode working autonomously on one project. And that was using Codex. But then what we can also do is, whilst we're doing that, we can have Hermes with Codex implemented over here. And we can have Claude ready to go inside here, and we could be using, for example, our Ultra code in the background. And so, like, I think the best way to get the most out of them is to have them combined side by side. If I had to pick one, I would go to Claude Fable 5 just because I prefer Claude Desktop. And either way, you can plug both of them into your agent operating system. The other thing that I would say here is that when you're using, for example, agents like Hermes, you can't use Claude OAuth. So you have to pay for the API. Whereas, for example, if you're using GPT 5.6, you can easily use your OAuth to generate images, to go back and forth with Hermes, and use Agentic models for free with your existing subscription. So that's a better way to use Hermes. So it depends what you're really using it for. But if I had to pick one, Fable 5. Difficult, very difficult to test that. And actually, if you see the differences here, Soul was quite good at like the action and precision. Fable 5 was better at like the atmosphere and making things feel like a bit more detailed and interesting. Let's have a look at some more builds here. So if we go to Goldie Bench, we can compare the models side by side. So if you filter by GPT 5.6 Soul, we can see Fable 5 side by side here. But again, like, how similar do they look? They're very, very similar in terms of the output. So let's check the flight simulator. This would be a fun one. By the way, I tested this out with HY3 the other day, Tencent HY3, and it didn't achieve anywhere near this sort of level. So, I mean, these two models are just in a class of their own. I wouldn't say GLM 5.2 gets close either, to be honest. So it's creating awesome stuff. Really, really nice use. This is the output from Soul. And then let's compare this versus Fable 5. I mean, Fable 5's output here, it feels, again, a lot smoother, a lot more detailed, which is what we were talking about before, which is, you know, Fable 5 is great at the details, it's great at the atmosphere and everything else. And then GPT 5.6 is good at, like, making the gameplay smooth and everything else. Let's try this one. So this is Neon City. I mean, how cool does that look? And then this is Fable 5, which is pretty cool in a different way. They've both got a totally different vibe when they code stuff out. Be interested to see as well, how do they perform on the video creation? So we actually gave Remotion, which is a skill for creating videos, into both. This is the output from GPT 5.6. Looks super nice. Like, look how clean and nice UI is. It's smooth. It's got a nice progress bar at the bottom. And basically, this coded out a full page, as you can see, and it looks fantastic. Design and the UI is really, really nice. If we compare that to Fable 5, let's open it up. Yeah, this one looks nicer. Like, it just feels smoother. It's more interesting. It's more entertaining. It's more animated. Everything is better. So yeah, both fantastic models. Glad we have both, you know, access to both. I think GPT 5.6 is scoring higher on the leaderboards, but again, if I had the choice, it's not just about the model itself, but often it's about the harness and where you store it, right? So for example, using Claude desktop is so nice and smooth as an experience, whereas Codex, it just doesn't feel quite as nice. It's not quite as fun to use. The other thing I would say is like the sites option is quite interesting as well. So this is a new feature inside Codex where you can build websites. But yeah, that's it. Now, if you want to get both models running side by side, you can get that inside the Agent OS. So we have a section for Claude where you can use Ultra Code. You got artifacts of everything you built, the workspace, the chat, and then we also have Codex over here. The other interesting thing is, you know, if you're using GPT 5.6 quite a lot with OAuth, you might run out of tokens. Now, if you run out of tokens, you can actually switch to OmniRoot, which is free, or HY3, which is free as an API, inside Codex using our Agent OS system. We have Gold Mode running autonomously over here. We have the workspace over here as well, where you can see and preview everything that you built with this stuff. And then we have the memory system that links them all together. And I would say if you want to get the most out of Fable 5 and Claude and Codex, plug them all into one powerful system like this. You get way more out of it. It's way more fun to use. And also you can build and improve and customize this exactly how you want it day to day, which I think is the best way to get the most out of these models. So if you want to get that, it's inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description, or go to the AIProfitBoardroom.com. Inside the community, you can ask questions, get help and support in real time. I answer these questions daily with a new video tutorial. Inside the classroom, you get access to all of our best training. So for example, we have a full 6-week beginner to expert masterclass over here, and we have new daily tutorials over here that we update with new advanced stuff, as you can see. Inside the Agent OS section here, you can get the new updates, the video tutorial, the zip file to install it, and we add new daily updates, as you can see. And then you can also get 4 weekly coaching calls where you get help and support real time, share your screen, meet other members, and inside the map, you can meet other people using Codex, Fable 5, and also building agent operating systems as well. So hope to see you inside there. Cheers for watching. Bye-bye. Let's see what questions we got here. What was the prompt for the 3D racer game? I think that'll be on Goldie Bench. I think if you go to tasks here, yeah, you can get the prompt over here. Yes, you can see the prompts and what we asked. Can I use AI to? Yeah, you can. Yeah. We've got lots of training on that inside the Alpha Forum. What was the prompt for that again? Again, it's on Goldie Bench. Is it Remotion, the skill for videos? Yeah, it's a free open source skill on GitHub. Hi, Julian. Can I design a multi-LLM orchestration system? Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what we do inside the Alpha Forum. So we have the Agent OS over here, and then we have agent orchestration systems over here. So for example, if you wanted one LLM to route tasks to everyone else, you could set up paperclip like so using this system over here. You could also, for example, have a group chat where you go in between your agents so you speak to them directly. Or you could also, for example, drop an idea inside the idea pipeline and go from idea to implementation with shipped apps, as you can see, in like one click. So you got lots of different options right there. Fable 5 or ChatGPT 5.6? I would go with Fable 5. Yeah. Good questions today. Happy to help. Thank you. Thanks very much for the great questions. Appreciate that. Glad you like it. Today, I'm going to show you how to rank #1 with GPT 5.6 AI SEO. So GPT 5.6 just dropped today. OpenAI shipped 3 models, Sol, Terra, Luna, and I'm going to show you some of the most powerful ways to get the most out of this to rank #1 based on what's working for me. So for example, if we take a look at this keyword, best AI school community, you can see us ranking #1 with this keyword over here, and also this keyword inside Google AI overviews. You can also see us ranking on Google directly here too, and then also on the first page of Google. So we know how to rank for AI SEO. This is something we're actively testing. These are the best systems we've set up to get the most out of GPT 5.6 to rank your website and get more traffic. So let's get straight into it. And there's 3 pieces to this system. And the first method is using Google Search Console. So Google already tells you for free every search where your site shows up, the keyword, your position, how many people see it, how many clicks, and the agent OS that we built over here can actually use that system to start ranking your website. So what we can do is we can go into the research section here. We can type in a keyword that we want to find keyword data for, and we can get our agents using GPT 5.6 inside this system to analyze our website and see where we're actually ranking. So for example, you can see that it links to one of our pages here. It shows us how many clicks we're getting and how many impressions we're getting for that keyword and our average position, right? So it gives us all the keyword data we need to make sure that we understand, okay, where are we ranking, and then also how can we rank better in the future. So it's a pretty powerful system. Now, as we go through this, we can actually use this topic to create more content, which we'll come into in a second. And then we have the brains, which is GPT 5.6. You can use Sol, Terra, or Luna, 3 models at 3 different prices. And Luna can find thousands of keywords for you, right? Terra can write the articles. Sol can do the hard part. And then you've got the full machine. So you can research, write, deploy in one dashboard, wired to 5 different websites or to whatever platform you want to create content for. And this is a powerful system to get your website ranking. So let me show you an example. So we can take one of these keywords, as you can see right here, and we could take one of these keywords and use that to create content over here. All we need to do is click a button, and then we can generate 5 articles and deploy them to our website. So it's a really powerful system that we can use for AI SEO to get rankings quickly. We actually have a full free SEO course as well in the description if you want to learn more about this stuff, with 250 free lessons on AI SEO. So that's one method for using this. You can also use the video agent. So if you saw before, we were ranking with video content. So we can actually plug in a keyword that we want to rank for over here, and the whole agent will do the research, find the avatar, edit it all together, and plug out a video that's fully edited like this once it's completed, with an AI avatar, the full voiceover over the top, the full edited video. Looks beautiful, easy to use, simple, and plugs into our memory system as well. So really powerful. And then what we've also got is we have Codex with GPT 5.6 plugged in over here. And one of the most powerful ways to do SEO is that you could say, okay, build me a certain tool and then create the website for it. And we actually tested this out earlier today. So you see this was done 35 minutes ago. So just as an example test, let's say you wanted to build a racing game and then rank your website for that racing game. Or you can see here that we've got the final outputs and we've got the chat here, so we can see the full page that's been created. And if we open that up, we can see the full website that we've created over here. So it's really good at like creating websites. You can use them for design. You can actually use them to actually build out the output. So this created a full game, as you can see here, using Codex and GPT 5.6, but you can also create the landing page and rank the page as well, right? And it can all run autonomously in the background. So the way that the goal mode works here is that you can give your AI agent a goal. It will loop around and keep working on that task until it's fully completed and deployed locally, as you can see right here. So the great thing about that is that we could say, okay, create content for my website and keep going until you finally start ranking for some content, right? And it would just loop around autonomously. It could run for days without you using GPT 5.6. It's pretty wild like that, especially if you're using Soul. Now, also what you can do over here is everything that you create, you can save inside one workspace. So if you have a look, we've got the game and the page that we've created previewable inside this section. So we never lose it again. We can also open it up in a new tab. So it's really easy to organize. We can see the source code, we've got the preview, and we can copy that or we can save it as well. Same for the website that we created and the game and everything else. And then all of our creations with GPT 5.6 are saved inside one workspace, because the great thing about this is that you can easily preview and come back to things whenever you need to. So we created out another blog post here, as you can see, and then we can come back to that later. So it's a pretty powerful system for doing AI SEO, because you can create websites, you can rank them, you can have goal mode working in the background on a loop. You can use the SEO system to find new keywords and then generate content and also deploy it to your website. And you also have the memory system where you can get the context of all of your projects, your clients, your goals, your vision, your voice, your previous content that performed well inside one place. So for example, we zoom in here, all of these different dots are different memories inside my galaxy. And the agents can use that to create new content. So for example, it understands everything about my agency over here. And it has this all stored inside one system that we can come back to for SEO later. And the great thing about that is when you're creating content, it's all unique to you. It's all created specifically for you, your business, your voice, your brand, your goals. Really, really powerful stuff. So the final way that I'd recommend using AI SEO with this is that you can use Hermes Agent, and then that can create content for you as well. And also, if you're doing link building outreach, you can actually use the outreach tool over here that we've created, and then that can find the leads for you. So you could say, okay, find AI automation related blog that accepts backlinks or guest posts, and then it will find the leads for you. As you can see right here, it will be fully enriched with the AI. You can then add those to your next campaign. Inside the campaign section, you can write the email campaign. And then from here, we can actually start sending the emails too. So we get the agent to manage our inbox, to manage our sent inbox, and to send out emails for link building as well. So it's like a full SEO link building outreach tool that you could also use for lead generation inside one place, which is beautiful. So those are some of the best ways to rank with GPT 5.6 based on the systems we've created. The pipeline is you pull the live search console data, you score every keyword, you route the work to the right model, you write all the content, deploy it to your website, and you're good to go from there. It works in 5 simple steps. So here's an example of what it would look like. And the great thing about that is the data now tells me exactly which keyword is one nudge from number one. We can have Luna find lots of new queries. We can have Terra write the content. We can have Soul build out the websites, depending on how difficult the task is as well. You might also say, is this Agent OS system like difficult to install or set up? So we've actually got over 196 pages of wins and testimonials and people learning and growing with AI automation. Loads of people installing the Agent OS from our community. And for example, like Jacob, he set it up in 10 minutes. David said Julian is cooking harder on his Agent OS than anybody I've seen. You've got, for example, Paul, who actually created it and set up the Agent OS on multiple different devices. So the point here is like, you don't need to be technical. I'm non-technical. Everyone inside this community is non-technical for the most part. And anyone can do this. Anyone can set this up. You might also say, does AI content actually rank? Can it get you good results? So we have multiple websites ranking with AI SEO, as I showed you before, and it works really well, right? Inside this AI SEO solo system that we've got. And if you look at the old way versus the new way for doing SEO, the old way is like you pick keywords on a hunch, or you go after keywords from an AI tool that's like 6 months old. You have a team of writers that are difficult to manage and quite hard to control. And there's no quality control in that process as well. Or if you are quality controlling all the content you create, it's quite messy and time consuming. With this new system, the data is picked from Google Search Console. Your agents create all the content. They follow a very specific skill so that your content is quality controlled and also created at the right standard. And then everything helps you rank number one in an optimized, quality controlled way. So if you want our full SEO stack from today, the AI SEO solar system, that's just one part of the agent operating system, which is the dashboard I run everything on, right? So if you join the AI Profit Boardroom, you can get everything I've shown you today, the SEO sections, the Google Search Console data setup, the content pipeline. We have open SEO set up inside there as well. We have GPT 5.6 with Codex inside there. Every CLI that you already use, you can plug in and you get all sorts of crazy stuff inside there, as well as the memory system as well. So you can get that inside there for boardroom. You also might say, okay, SEO is about writing more content, but only if that content is actually good. And that's what our systems help you do. You also might say, okay, I need to rank on Google. I don't want to rank inside AI, but at this point, this whole system optimizes for both of them. And other people might say, well, doing this whole system like takes up a lot of tokens. And actually, if you're trying to limit the number of tokens you use, inside Codex we allow you to use OmniRoute or HY3, and these are two free options you can use for creating content, completely free, and they're easy to set up as well inside the system. And that way, if you run out of tokens, or if you don't want to use ChatGPT, or you don't have a subscription, no problem, you can use free systems instead. So if you want to get that all, it's inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Link in the comments description. This is my AI automation community that helps you learn, scale, and save time with AI automation. Inside the community, you can post questions, get help and support in real time. Inside the classroom, you can get access to all of our best trainings and lessons. If you're interested in AI SEO, we have a full AI SEO automation section over here. And if you're a complete beginner, you can go from beginner to expert over here. And if you want new daily updates on all this stuff, you can get that inside the new daily update section. We have the Agent OS system here. You can see when it was last updated. We update it daily. You get a zip file and a full video tutorial on how to set up. And then we add new daily guides based on what's just dropped and what's actually used for. So this is all inside here. You also get 4 weekly coaching calls where you get help and support in real time. Inside the map, you can meet people locally who are building out with AI agents like you. And if you want to get it all, it's inside the AI Profit Boardroom. Additionally, if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session, you want to get us to rank your website for you, you can book that in at goldie.agency or click the link in the comments description. And basically on that free SEO strategy session, we'll show you how we take websites from 0 to thousands of traffic per month, how to get more leads from Google, how we rank our own websites. You get a custom tailored SEO game plan for your website. You'll discover the secrets to SEO link building, or answer any questions you have in real time. You'll learn the best link building strategy for your website, plus how to outrank your competitors with link building. So if you want to get this all completely free, link in the comments description or go to the airprofit1.com. Sorry, to goldie.agency. Thanks. Let's see what we got here. Motion. Love your content. Just launched AI assistant. What can you recommend as a SEO strategy? So I mean, like the strategy that we've just talked about today helps a lot, right? Like that's pretty powerful. For me, well, I have an SEO agency and a community. And then, for example, like we have all sorts of different things, but we have a lot of training on that inside the AI Profit Boardroom if you want to learn more about that. Yeah, you can get our best trainings inside the community on how to fix that. Today we're going to be talking about agent operating systems, how to get the most out of them, how to automate basically anything, how to build amazing systems that actually save you a lot of time. And this is based on all the community questions that I get recently from the AI boardroom. So we're going to jump into this. If you're wondering what is an agent operating system, so this is basically a system where we can have all of our agents working together inside one place. So if we want to orchestrate our agents, we can do it over here inside Paperclip, inside the group chat where we have all of our agents talking together. We have the pipeline where we can go from idea to implementation in like one single click using powerful systems. We also, for example, have Claude and Fable 5 plugged in. We have Hermes that can run with any API or OAuth profile. We have Hermes Oracle, Hermes Astros. We have a voice-powered AI agent that's basically like Hermes Jarvis, essentially, and it can run in the background autonomously, can build stuff for us. We have a lead outreach tool. We even have SEO systems that can basically find keywords from our Google Search Console, publish them to our website. We've got, for example, a video agent that can fully edited, beautiful videos like you can see. We've got a music agent, our memory system, which has all of our agents plugged in together with the same context, so they all understand everything about us. And this is all inside one place where all of our systems are just one click away, right? It's the most powerful system that I've ever seen for building with AI agents. And today we're going to answer some of the latest questions about it. We've even, for example, created a version of Codex where you can basically plug in your OAuth over here. You can switch between APIs, so you can use GPT 5.6. You can use your OAuth, so you don't need to use API. And then you can go back and forth inside the chat. Your Go mode that can work inside a sandbox. We tested out this morning to build out a website and a game. We have all of our creations with GPT 5.6 inside one place as well, so we can preview and save everything that we've created. And it's just the most powerful thing that we've ever built. So we're going to talk through some of the latest questions from the AI boardroom community and answer them, so that if they have those questions, you probably have them as well. We're going to try and help you as much as we can. So we've got a question from Kevin, who's asking about how to use an agentic operating system across multiple different devices. So let's say, for example, you have like 3 different machines. You want to set up this agent operating system across all of them. So one of the best ways that I've seen, and I've seen a few members set this up, is with a VPS. So I personally run it locally, but if you have multiple machines and you want to give access to each one, you can see that, for example, you can use a combination of a VPS, which is for example, like you could use Hostinger, and you could have Cloudflare running with that to give it access to any device. And that's pretty easy and simple to set up. You can also see another example here. So Paul actually just asked his agent to add it on multiple places, so it's available on both devices, and that worked as well. And then we've got another example right here where it's been set up on an agent OS as well. And Jacob actually said like it was mind-blowing how fast the setup was. So the VPS is the easiest way to share access across multiple different devices. Laura was saying, okay, first, what an amazing community. I've learned more in 4 days than the entire 4 months, which is awesome. So congrats to you. So now they're asking, like, is there a way to link the AI across multiple machines? And again, you would use a VPS for this. So this seems to be like quite a common and complex problem. But yeah, just use a VPS if you want to give your agent OS access across multiple devices. Got a question here on AI avatars. So James was asking, like, how do you create your AI avatar, etc. And he was seeing like a few issues with the avatars he's created. So we actually do use this tool, Agen, but what we did is we created like multiple different recordings, trained it on that, and then tested them all out and saw which one was the most realistic looking. So I think that's the best way, is like just test out different recordings and go from there. You can also use a different version of Agen, and depending on which one you use, it's better and better. Jake was asking about the Hermes mission control. So we have a Hermes mission control over here, as you can see. And we have basically a chat mode where you can talk to your agent and go back and forth with it. And you can switch between different profiles, as you can see right here. And then we also have the talk mode where you can have a conversation with your agent. We have Apollo, which is a voice activated version of Hermes. And then additionally, we have Hermes Oracle that pulls in the latest news on a 24-hour basis. We have Hermes Astros that pulls in the latest news and finds relevant topics based on the keywords we monitor. And then we also have the studio where we can generate images, voice, and video here. So it's like a much more powerful way to use Hermes because we've segmented each of the potential workflows you could do with that. So if you want to get that, it's inside the classroom, and then just go to the new daily updates and you'll find the Agent OS system over here. Got a question here from Joshua, which is, he's been using Sonnet 5. So it looks like he's been using GLM 5.2. He's put Sonnet 5.2, but I think it means GLM, for a lot of blog writing and document creation. And he's looking for a cheaper model. So it looks like he's comparing Sonnet versus GLM 5.2. For me personally, I think the Sonnet is the best writer, but if you want something cheaper, GLM 5.2 is great. You can use the coding plan, and then you never seem to run out of tokens. So if you give it a good skill on how to do SEO, and you train it on that skill so it's quality control properly, then you'll get pretty good outputs from GLM 5.2. It'll never be as good as something like Sonnet for writing, but it's right up there and it's a lot cheaper. So Aiden was asking, like, what's the best way to run a marketing agency with AI? He said he's watched the Agent OS video, wasn't sure about the best way to run it, etc. Should he be using Paperclip or Hermes or that sort of thing? So the way that I automated a lot of my SEO agency with AI was first looking at what I do day to day and then trying to automate from there. So for example, if you spend a lot of time analyzing data, then you could set up a workflow just inside Claude or Claude Desktop, it automates that for you. And then once you feel more comfortable with AI, if you're a beginner, then you can keep building on top of that. So for example, week one might be like, okay, automate task one, build a great system and workflow for that, and then automate task two and task three, etc. For me personally, some of the things that made the biggest difference was automating a lot of the marketing. So, for example, and I'll link to the tutorials on each of these, but automating funnel pages, setting up the video agent, and also automating the newsletter creation. All of these things helped me grow my marketing agency, get more leads, and save a lot of time. We have workflows on each of them, which I've linked to over here. But you just want to start where you are and analyze, okay, what you're working on day to day, and then how can you automate from there? And I don't think you need anything fancy for that. Like, just keep it simple and then build up. We got a question from Scott about like automating or using the Agent OS whilst you're on the go. So, for example, like you could be in the gym and just use the Agent OS from your mobile phone. And you actually can't do that with a VPS. So, for example, like John Meza, he connected it to a mobile device, as you can see right here, and he's got the mobile version of his Agent OS. So you could use that. And for example, even if you were walking, you could set up Hermes Apollo with the voice implementation, and then you could use the voice implementation whilst you're on the go too. A lot of people are looking for partnerships and people to work with as well inside the Agent OS, inside the AI Profitable Room as well. So it's a really good place to like meet people. As you can see, a lot of people super active inside there, which is super useful too. We also have, for example, Mike is building out his Obsidian Vault, which is a memory system for an agent operating system too. So if anyone's watching this, you're like, how do you set up a memory system? How do you give context to your agents? So what we have here is Obsidian, which is just a bunch of markdown files. And this is neatly organized into a knowledge vault where each one of these dots is a new memory. And it has all the information about who I work with, who's in my team, what brands I have, what projects I'm working on. And that's really, really useful and super powerful as well. Right? And so what you can do here is you can have all of this connected in one place. Now, the way that I started with this is I literally went into Claude and Chat GPT and I said, right, based on everything that you know about me, create a project folder and mark down files inside that, inside the Obsidian folder, explaining everything you know about me, right? And use Para as a system, PAI, which is a system of organizing files and everything else together. And so that's how we created this. And then we asked Claude to like keep improving it, keep making it tidier and everything else. So Mikey has done the same thing, as you can see right here, which is pretty cool. And he's put all of his writings into an Obsidian Vault as well, which this is like a really cool way to really customize everything that you've built, plug it into one system and make it as useful as you can. And I think that's a beautiful thing about the Agent OS is like you can customize it as much as you want. All the systems inside there, you can make them personalized to you, even the UI and everything else, you can make them personalized. So fantastic example, Mikey, and just keep sharing your journey. And that's basically it for all the latest questions. If you want to ask me questions like this, feel free to post inside the AI Profitable community. I create a video tutorial every day like this, answering all the latest questions on the Agent OS and also just helping people as much as I can inside the community. Inside the classroom, you can actually get access to the Agent OS over here. We add new daily tutorials like you can see based on everything we've built. We're already plugged in GPT 5.6, which just dropped today inside the Agent OS as well. And we have a full beginner to expert course over here if you want to learn more about this stuff. Inside the calendar, you can jump on weekly coaching calls, get help and support in real time. And it's just an amazing community with great vibes, with lots of people sharing cool stuff. So it's a fantastic place to meet people, learn and grow together. There's also a map where you can connect with people locally who are building with AI agents like you. And that's all available inside the AI Profitable Room. Link in the comments description or go to the AIProfitable.com. Thanks for watching. Fable as an orchestrator works, hard to use on its own. Yeah, I agree. Julian, can we talk after in school? I actually got to go to the gym pretty quickly, but feel free to direct message me with any questions you have, and always happy to help Josué, so feel free, man. And that is pretty much it for me. I think we've done 5 tutorials today. We have been through AI SEO with GPT 5.6, GPT 5.6 versus Fable 5, the Q&A from the community, the Agent OS plus GPT 5.6, and also a breakdown of GPT 5.6 Terra, Luna, and Sol. So thanks so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. I will see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.